Nandan Nilekani, the story from Aadhaar to exam reform. At 4:30 at night, a student was looking at his admit card again and again. Everyone in the house was sleeping, but there was no sleep in his eyes. The fear was not just of the exam, the fear was lest hard work lose again in some leak. His mother softly asked, "This time the paper will be safe, right?" The boy did not reply anything. Because like millions of students, he too knew that nowadays, before sitting in the exam hall, the biggest question is not of knowledge, but of trust. Just then a news flash came on the mobile. PM Modi has formed a high-powered task force for exam reforms, and its command has been given to Nandan Nilekani. There was silence in the house, but this name was suddenly making the story very big. Hearing the name, a question arises. Can the same man who played a major role in the story of digital identity like Aadhaar, remained associated with systems like FASTag and digital payments, now handle the breaking credibility of India's exam system? Because an exam leak is not just the theft of a paper. It steals the hope of a middle-class family, weakens the preparation of a poor child, and turns parents' sacrifice into a question in a single stroke. This story is not just a biography of Nandan Nilekani. It is the story of that India, where technology sometimes ends queues, sometimes makes payment easy, and now it is being asked whether it can bring back the trust of millions of students too. According to reports, PM Modi announced a high-powered task force for exam system overhaul, which Nandan Nilekani will lead, and this step came after recent exam leaks, protests, and growing pressure on the education system. But behind the headline of the appointment, the real suspense is hidden. The government chose not a traditional education bureaucrat, but a public digital infrastructure architect. Meaning the problem is not being seen merely like a syllabus or an exam calendar. Therefore, the first question is not who Nilekani is. The first question is why the government felt that India's exam system now needs a technology architect. And this very question takes us to his past. Nandan Nilekani's name is connected with India's IT revolution. But his story does not begin from some shiny boardroom. Rather, it begins from that era when the computer itself was a rare thing in India. Born in Bengaluru in 1955, Nilekani studied electrical engineering from IIT Bombay. At that time, the IT industry was not powerful like today. It was a field which many people considered the future, but very few people could imagine its scale. The professional journey began with Patni Computer Systems. Right there he met Narayana Murthy, and many times history begins to change not from a grand speech but from such a quiet meeting. In 1981, Nilekani, Murthy and 5 other people together laid the foundation of Infosys. The beginning was small, but the ambition was big. That an Indian company could give technology services to the world, this dream was not easy at that time. Gradually, Infosys did not remain just a company, it became India's new professional identity. According to the official Infosys profile, Nilekani is a co-founder of Infosys, was the founding chairman of UIDAI, and returned in 2017 as non-executive chairman. Nilekani worked as the CEO of Infosys from 2002 to 2007. This was that very phase when Indian IT was rapidly building its trust in the world of global clients, outsourcing and software services. But his biggest turn came outside Infosys. In 2009, he left corporate comfort and took charge of UIDAI. A billionaire entrepreneur was suddenly standing amidst a government identity project. The idea of the National Digital Identity Project sounded simple, but execution was almost like impossible. Giving every resident a unique biometric identity in such a vast country, amidst so many languages, documents and inequalities, this was no ordinary database project. It brought a big change in bank accounts, welfare schemes, tax systems and identity verification. Friction of identity was reduced in many services, and connecting with the state became easier for millions of people. But this story was not just about success. Along with it, serious concerns regarding privacy, exclusion, biometric failure and data security were raised as well. Meaning the bigger the scale becomes, the demand for accountability becomes equally big. This very contradiction makes Nilekani's story interesting. He is a champion of technology, but his biggest lesson comes from technology itself. Building a system is easy, building trust in a system is even harder. The core of Nilekani's thinking has often been around digital public infrastructure, that is DPI. Meaning making such a digital rail on which government, private sector and citizens together can run services. UPI is its most famous example. Whether you send 10 rupees at a tea stall or a merchant settles crores, behind it is a platform that remains invisible but makes the transaction trustworthy. In 2019, the RBI formed a high-level committee to deepen digital payments, whose chairman was Nandan Nilekani. According to the RBI, the purpose of the committee was to increase digitization and financial inclusion. Nilekani's name has been coming up in discussions related to FASTag, GST technology architecture and large public platforms as well. According to reports, his advisory role in systems like 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 and FASTag has been one that shaped India's governance tech thinking. The pattern looks clear. Where there was crowd, paperwork, cash, queue and confusion in India, Nilekani's thinking tried to create a common digital layer there. But the exam system is a different monster altogether. Because if an error happens in toll payment, a complaint can be made. If a UPI transaction fails, there can be a refund process. But if an exam leaks, 1 year's preparation, age limit and mental health all get put at stake. An exam is not just a service, it is a life opportunity. If trust breaks here, a child does not just get angry with the system, he starts fearing his future. And this very fear was seen in protests across the country. The work of a testing agency like NTA is to make papers, manage centers, verify candidates, and process results. It sounds administrative, but a vulnerability is hidden in its every step. The new task force has to give suggestions on technology-based reforms and structural changes. Reports also mention names like S. Somnath, Tapan Deka, V. Kamakoti, Anita Karwal, and Amrit Lal Meena in the panel. Now the question arises, what will Nilekani actually change in this system? Will leaks stop just by conducting online exams? The answer is not so simple, and this is the next twist in this story. The first layer is question paper creation. If there are multiple human touchpoints in the process of making the paper, every touchpoint can become a risk. Technology here can bring encrypted workflows and strict access control. The second layer is printing and distribution. Many leaks happen during physical movement. If a tamper-proof digital trail of when the packet opened, where it reached, and who handled it is created, accountability can become strong. The third layer is exam center integrity. Tools like candidate verification, seating randomization, live monitoring, and suspicious activity detection can reduce cheating, but these need careful design. The fourth layer is question bank strategy. If there is a large secure question pool, an algorithm generates the final set at a late stage, and there is controlled variation across different centers, the value of a leak can decrease. The fifth layer is result analytics. If unusual high scores, identical answer patterns, or time-based anomalies are seen in a center, AI can work like an early warning system. But the pattern interrupt is this: a technology solution can become a problem as well. If the system becomes opaque, the algorithm goes wrong, or access becomes difficult for rural students, the reform will create new unfairness. If a child comes from a remote village, internet is weak, computer familiarity is low, and the exam suddenly becomes high-tech, merit still will not be measured completely. Just the name of disadvantage will change. A student sitting in a rural town fears leakage as well as a digital exam glitch. For him, justice means not just a secure server but a stable center, fair process, and clear grievance redressal as well. Privacy is a big question too. If biometrics, CCTV, AI monitoring, and candidate data are collected, rules for retention, consent, misuse, and data security should be equally clear. Therefore, real reform does not mean just a tech upgrade. Real reform means technology plus transparency, security plus fairness, speed plus accountability, and most importantly, keeping the student's dignity at the center. Nilekani is being looked at for this role because his career has been not just of writing code but of thinking architecture. He speaks the language not of a product but of an ecosystem. His public tech philosophy has been saying that in a country like India, the solution should not be a centralized monopoly but open rails. A common infrastructure be made, and over that many players can innovate. The Infosys profile also mentions Nilekani's EK-Step Foundation, which is connected with an effort to create a technology platform for learning and basic literacy numeracy. Meaning education is not a completely new field for him. In 2025, he was also made the chief mentor of the India Energy Stack Task Force, whose goal is to build digital public infrastructure for the power sector. Now PM Modi has drawn him towards exam reforms. This choice is symbolic as well as strategic. Symbolic because the crisis is of trust. Strategic because the solution cannot be fragmented. The student movement gave a signal to the government that an exam leak is no longer a local scandal. It has become a national trust emergency, and a trust emergency is not cured by a press conference. The pressure of the protest was not limited only to resignation. The real demand was that a system be made where the next batch does not have to come onto the road again to ask for the protection of its hard work. This very pressure makes this appointment important. If Nilekani's task force closes the file merely by giving recommendations, this too will become a missed opportunity. But if this task force redesigns the entire chain right from paper setting to result declaration, India's exam system can change in the coming decade. The biggest hidden truth is that a leak is never just a leak. It is an ecosystem failure, where greed, weak controls, local collusion and slow punishment together create a disaster. A person leaking a paper might look like a lone villain, but behind him are the cracks of the system. Someone is giving access, someone's oversight is sleeping, some audit is weak. An honest student is unable to see this entire chain. He just sits in the exam hall and assumes that the system is fair. If that very assumption breaks, the education contract breaks. Technology can repair this contract, but only when it gives visible accountability. A student should know when the paper was locked, how the center was verified, where the complaint will go. If a question paper is tracked with tamper-evident logs like blockchain, if every access is recorded, if the audit of the exam center is random and real, people inside will also avoid risky behavior. But the system will have to remain human too. If a student's biometric fails or a server crashes, his future should not end due to a machine error. Therefore, the best exam reform will be the one that makes cheating difficult, gives a smooth path to the honest student, and makes the administration responsible. This triple balance is the real test of this task force. Nilekani's past tells that he understands scale. But in exam reform, a word bigger than scale is sensitivity. Here behind every roll number there is a story. And in that story there is a father's overtime duty, a mother's savings, coaching fees, and those nights when a child studies leaving behind friends' weddings, festivals and sleep. The future exam system will perhaps be more digital, more monitored, and more data-driven. But India will have to decide whether technology will empower the student or merely scan him.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.